Right, so the first one is looking at social aspects of the internet, and how do you consider that this is changing the way consumers behave?
Right. First thing, it's consuming consumers' time. So they're having less time to do anything else. I think it was Herbert Simon in 1977, got a Nobel Prize for it, but he talked about the a surfeit of information and communication consume time. And I don't meet any consumers, if I'm doing any research or anything, who don't say that they're not time poor. So that means time for them is at a premium. I've just seen some proprietary Google research that shows that last year, roughly, people, before they bought a product online, were doing about 5.4 searches. That's last year. This year, they're doing over 11 searches. So that all takes time, but it's consumers having to deal with a surfeit of information. Social networking eats into that time as well. I just saw the latest Experian Hitwise data showing that the amount of time spent on social networks in the UK just exceeded, for the first time, first month, entertainment online. So as the single biggest activity, So all that time has got to come from somewhere. And it's not that people are cutting down on TV or doing things like that. They're just squeezing more things in by multitasking, etc. So one of the big things around social networking is the time it takes, I think. And we're early stage of this, really. It's like the 1950s of TV, where people just sort of, first time they saw colour TV, they sat there for hours and hours and hours and just absorbed it. And as time went on, it took about 20 years, but they started to get a lot more selective. And I think social networking is like that, where it's consuming so much time, but gradually people will learn to control it more than it controls them. But really, people are seduced by this whole stuff because of the constant feedback loops. If you tweet, then you get a response, and then if you need a response, or you get an email, and you send an email, and there's an email back. It continues the cycle, and you don't often break out of the feedback loop. So so other things it's doing, too much information for people. There's just too much choice, really. And so the decisions become more difficult. Rather like the Google search, if you've got all this information, which product is better, which doesn't have the negative reviews, because to be authentic, you've got to have negative views in there, so people get thrown by them. So what can I say? What else can I say? New forms of shopping, social, Facebook retail stores, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
You think this is the next big thing in retail?
That's already been happening. But what's interesting is liking something, which people are often asked to do on Facebook. Consumers don't realise that means they're going to be retargeted. So
I realised since I liked the University of Southampton.
Yeah, that's right. So consumers aren't aware of all this yet. It's all very new, and they're going to learn to be a bit more selective. So the thing about the social networking worlds, and I think this is where there's a big jump, is that it's not what it seems. If you ask people why do they go on Facebook, they say to communicate with my friends. But that's not what Facebook is. It's an advertising and marketing network. That's how they make their money, primarily advertising. So, you know, we're at a stage in development where businesses used to be what they said on the tin. It was all very clear. Yeah. Now, Google, Facebook, increasingly Twitter, that's about to get very commercial, the service is one thing, but how they make their money is quite different and not obvious to consumers. And I just think it's going to take quite a few years for consumers to catch up with them. Yeah.
Yeah.